All right, Buff Nation, I think we're live. What's going on? Hopefully, you're all having a wonderful day. We're going to dive into the performance of this revamped Colorado Buffaloes offensive line. Doesn't that sound so good to say? Hopefully, you guys are also still just riding this massive hard on for the Buffs this week after this massive win. Man, I'm telling you what, man, I feel like $1,000,000. So great to see this team win. Cherish every single week when you get that victory, right, guys? So we're going to dive in, take a look at the offensive line performance from a PFF perspective. And if you haven't been on Twitter yet, we can take a look at some of the couple clips that I clipped from the offensive line, Phillip Houston. They did such a great job. And I think if you want to join me on the apology tour for this offensive line with how they played this past week, feel free to join me in the comments on Twitter, whatever. But Phillip Houston getting the start at right tackle, of course, in place of Tyler Brown, who ended up replacing Justin Mayers at left guard. And I got to be honest, I was pretty freaking nervous about him coming up and starting because he's a light guy. And who knows how much he weighs? On the website, it says 250. We know it's not that. But I was nervous, man. I think I said last week, I can't believe we're starting a guy that's lighter than Jack Bailey this year, right? Never thought I would see the day. But he played bigger than his size this past week against CSU. Phillip Houston deserves all the credit. I thought that he had a good game. Going back and watching the All-22, before I dive into the grades, I just want to say this. Very impressed with him. His ability to move laterally is really good. People that have told me they thought that he had good technique, even though he's a little undersized. And I thought that to be the case when I was taking a look at the All-22 earlier this morning. There were some times in which he got pushed back on some bull rushes. There were probably like 3 plays or so that I remember where, man, that was a pretty good bull rush, but he never got flat out thrown on the grass. He never got flat out beat by any of these guys. Yes, it's CSU. Yes, it's CSU. But what should you be doing against CSU? You should be playing real damn good football. And that's what Phillip Houston did. He did what he should have done against CSU with what we're expecting. So I'm really pumped to see what he can do against an upgrade in talent against Baylor this week. That's going to be awesome to watch. And Kahlil Benson was up to the challenge this week. He was somebody that I'm making fun of. Everybody's making fun of. We're calling it. We're calling his nickname. Definitely touch two. Do touch two. Man. Mag, take your victory lap, man. Says the only one who said he'll be solid. Have your moment, man. Have your moment. But Kahlil Benson led this team in pass pro rating on PFF. Him and Houston seemed like they had some good chemistry going on. They handled the stunts very well together, communicated well, and I think Kahlil Benson was pretty good in the run game as well. I think everybody was a lot better in the run game. Whenever you run for over 100 yards, people did some great or whenever you run for 100 yards, people are going to get some great grades. So let's go ahead and dive into the grades. We can take a look at this together. And this is going to be my first look at it. Honestly, I wanted to give you guys my initial reaction, my initial takeaway to all these things. So let's do it. Give me 1 second. Hopefully, yeah, we can have me in the corner. I think that'll look okay. So as you can see from like an overall grade perspective, we want to look at the pass pro. It was just as good as it was against North Dakota State. And I would say even better because Shedeur took way less hits. He wasn't really holding onto the ball as much against North Dakota State to try and extend those plays to allow those routes to develop downfield. Yeah, I think that this is pretty fair to say that it was another really good performance from the offensive line. I think we were all pretty happy with their performance week one. Obviously, week two left a lot to be desired. Or, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's the passing grade. My bad. The pass blocking. Oh, and it was actually better. Okay, 74. 74, a little bit better than 76. Big improvement over the 50.8. That was atrocious. And then when we look at the run blocking, whoa, what? Wait, why is the run blocking worse than what we saw against these two teams? What is going on here, guys? 47.6. We're going to have to dive into the game report and see how this thing was, but strange to see our team rating so much lower with the run blocking when we could actually run the ball. This was the first game in which we could run the ball. So let's go ahead and get into it. And this is why I guess you always take things with a grain of salt. Let's start with the run blocking. Let's take a look here at the offensive line. And with the run blocking grade, it does account for all the wide receivers, the tight ends, everybody doing that. So maybe that's what affects the overall team grade. Interesting stuff. But let's go ahead and just look at our starting linemen. We'll start with the top rated guys. Well, let me comment on Will Sheppard. I think Carter Dillon from Let's Talk Buffs, who hopefully I can get on the show here soon. Joey Richards is going to come on the show at 7 tonight from Let's Talk Buffs. But he was talking about, I think it was him just saying how Will Sheppard was so impressive in the run blocking. Nice to see 72.9. You see Phillip Houston right here with a 70.2 in the run blocking, 18 snaps. You see he was absolutely killer in zone and like still good in gap schemes. But I think we saw when we were running kind of that outside zone a lot out of pistol, looked really, really good. Not surprised to see him, killing it here, particularly in zone. Kahlil Benson, not surprising to me at all. This right side of the line really stuck out, and I think because it's been such a weak spot for the first couple weeks, is that I really noticed improved play from Kahlil Benson. Good on him. Big bounce back game after receiving a lot of criticism, a lot of trolling on social media. It was nice to see him bounce back and truly live up to that DT2 he always talks about, right? He definitely was DT2 today or this past week. Credit to him. I want to see DT2 every week. Don't you? 63.7. Now, let's continue to move. Tyler Brown with a 57 grade. Hank Zilinskas with a 55 grade. And Jordan Seaton with a 54 grade. It's going to be interesting. Maybe I need to go back and take a little bit more of a look at the left side of the line. But one thing I was going to point out was, I want to see improvement from Hank Zilinskas. I think we will get that. Do have a lot of question marks, though, kind of around this guard play, like why certain guys are playing. But you can't argue against the results this past week. And I want to see what this unit, this starting five can do with another week of working together, right? After gaining some confidence playing together. I thought that this was very, very good. And you saw Jordan Seaton. Again, I thought on the zone he did very well. Some of those biggest runs for Michael Welsh, I believe, were off of zone plays. So Jordan Seaton, again, this is kind of average type of stuff, maybe slightly below average grade. Let's see how we're going to do up against Baylor. But Kahlil Benson, Phillip Houston, that's the biggest takeaway right here is that we saw much better play from our right guard and right tackle play this past week. Let's take a look here too and just see. So out in run blocking, when we're running zone, Phillip Houston and Jordan Seaton, our tackles, are the best ones blocking in those situations, followed by Kahlil Benson. If we're taking a look at gap, Phillip Houston, then Tyler Brown. Very interesting. And of course, Will Sheppard is up there, kicking butt as always. Let's take a look at the passing. Hopefully it will load. Okay. Pass blocking. Kahlil Benson. Very, very good. Very, very good. 85.5 grade. He allowed one hurry and one pressure on 56 snaps. Wow. Kahlil Benson. That might have been one of the best games he's played. And it doesn't surprise me that he's having one of those performances playing right guard. Always thought that he was better suited for guard. Let's see him build on this performance. And then in true pass sets, so when you knew that we were going to pass the ball, he was even better. 87.2. Wow. All right, let's continue on. Jordan Seaton was great at the left tackle position. I think he's had a very strong start to his true freshman career. 56 pass sets, pass plays, 83.6 grade. He allowed also 1 hurry, 1 pressure. And in true pass sets, still a 77, very respectable grade number. And guys, I guess the biggest thing before I get ahead of myself, no sacks. Incredible. Now, we took a bunch against Nebraska, but hey, we might be able to keep under 30 sacks for the entire season. That's insane improvement. And I think we're seeing improvement with this group. Charlie Offerdahl backing up what everybody's been saying about him in terms of why he sees the field. I like, though, that we didn't see a lot of Charlie this game, if I'm going to be honest. Tyler Brown, 69.6. Nice. He allowed 2 hurries and 2 pressures. Phillip Houston, 58.7. And had 3 penalties. That's kind of the thing where in the run game looked great. He did have a few plays in passing in which he struggled. One of those holding plays, I'm trying to remember, I didn't like that. Allowed 1 hit, 4 hurries, 5 pressures. And I think, I remember 3 in particular. Maybe there were more, but 3 in particular were just some bull rushes that ended up getting pretty close to Shedeur. But credit to Phillip Houston on still standing his ground. And on every single one of those throws or situations where that bull rush kind of got into Shedeur's grill a little bit, Shedeur stood firm in the pocket, and he was never knocked down on those 3 bull rushes that I remember. But he did have a hit. I'll have to go back and look to see when that was. But I thought that he did well in pass protection. Again, minus the penalties. That's something that going into your second game, starting against Baylor, we can't afford that. That's something that I'm going to be expecting him to be improving on, and I think he will. First game action of the season. Hank Zilinskas, 57.8. Worst rated offensive lineman in pass pro. And yes, I agree with it. I agree with it. I want to see him get better. But hey, this coaching staff has been quick to change things, obviously, if they're not getting the results that they want. We're going to have to see. Now, I think changing Hank Zilinskas at center might be a little bit more difficult because I assume that Hank is making a lot of calls at the line in conjunction with Shedeur. So maybe we'll just have to see. But I want to see this line play together. I want to value continuity, like giving this line this week, definitely. And maybe another one, even if they're up and down, to kind of get things together. Have them play a string of games together before you're making some other adjustments. I thought where Coach Prime, Pat Shurmur, and Phil Loadholt really excelled this past week was, of course, the game plan of giving their offensive linemen plays they could win in. And a lot of that had to do with those stretch plays, those zone runs, coming from pistol. They did such a better job of putting their line in position to win. And this is what I'm talking about. You don't need the most elite guys. I don't think Phillip Houston, anybody's out here calling Phillip Houston elite. But when you put him in a good situation, same with Kahlil Benson. If you surround them in a good situation with good play calling, all this stuff, you're going to get better performances out of them. And that's what Coach Prime, Phil Loadholt, Pat Shurmur, all these guys need credit for this week. Fantastic week of adjustment. I want to see this line play together more. And I'll also share this. If you guys haven't caught my Twitter, there were a few different plays here that I'll go ahead and show. And this was awesome. Watch 54 here. Watch Phillip Houston. This is one of the plays at the end of the game. Charlie's in there, but watch him and Kahlil Benson right here at the point of attack. They're the ones initiating contact. Benson does a good job of peeling off, taking that linebacker, or maybe that's a safety, that other defender, and then watch Phillip Houston just drive this guy away. Watch him drive this guy away. Drives him another like 5-7 yards out of the way. Big hole for Charlie Offerdahl. That was great stuff between him and Kahlil Benson. Here's another one. Oh, that was the one I just showed. Look at this one. Pass protection right here. Look at this pocket. Look at how Shurmur climbs this pocket. We didn't see a lot of this last year, right? And I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is that Phillip Houston, he just gets wide so much easier than Tyler Brown did. And again, I think it was kind of crazy to be putting Tyler Brown in that position to begin with. Like, if he was truly a tackle, he should have been practicing at that last year. He should have been practicing at it all spring. Who knows why he was on the field at right tackle? But if we're going to be running some, more zone runs, makes sense to have Phillip Houston out there because he's just more quick than having a guard at tackle would be at that position. But I love this pass set right here. Phillip Houston does a great job on this rush, stays in front of that edge defender. DT2 helping out. And look how he goes to chip this guy. This is what I like about Kahlil Benson. And you saw on the touchdown throw to Travis Hunter how Houston was blocking a guy, and then Benson came up and just clipped him as well. You see that right here, blowing him up. Like, I like to see this type of tag team energy. Really nice. Look how strong of a drop back and then climb up in the pocket Shurmur has right here, and throws a nice little strike to Travis Hunter. Just wonderful stuff. And then let's take a look at the rest of the line here. Love to see this. Tyler Brown coming over to help out with 94, and then Jordan Seaton just handling his own business. Handling his own business as a true freshman. It's great stuff. Shurmur climbing that pocket comfortably, confidently. One of my favorite throws. I'll have a film room on Shurmur. I also cut up some plays for Travis Hunter, as well as just the run game in general. So highlighting the offensive line, our running backs, all that. So you guys will see that as the week goes on. But I just absolutely love that play. And again, there's always going to be people that saying, well, it was against CSU. So should we just take the victory off? Like, they were our opponent. We handled business against them. We didn't allow one sack on them, like the whole game. That's what you should do when you're going up against CSU. We handled business. Some people are just never going to be happy no matter what. You're not going to find that on my channel with me. If they show out and they perform, they're going to get the credit for it. They were fantastic this week against CSU. Makes me so happy. Now watch this one. Now, this was a penalty or a play that came back because of a penalty from LeJontay Wester, a little block in the back. But I love to see his ability, Phillip Houston that is, to get out wide. Look how quickly he gets out here. This little screen play. Look how he lights up this linebacker and then cleans him up again at the end. And you can see right here, LeJontay Wester, he's he kind of pushes this guy in the back. But that shouldn't take away from what Phillip Houston's about to do right here. He's about to go WWE on this guy. Just lights him up, talks to him, let him know, knocks him over again. I don't know if he's talking to him, but that's what I would like to hope. But just absolutely cleaned him up there. This is beautiful stuff. And again, I think that Phillip Houston's ability, very athletic guy. I think that's one thing that's making sense to me now. Why you bring him in is that he can move. He can move really, really well. He can stay in front of guys. He can get out wide for these screen plays really well. That was something that we weren't able to do with Tyler Brown at right tackle. And again, I'll always say this. I don't think putting Tyler Brown at right tackle was ever setting this offensive line up for success or Tyler Brown up for success. So I like that we've made this adjustment. And credit to Phil Houston. Phil, all my guys know their assignments, Loadholt. But look how he blows that. Like, that is nasty. I think somebody said that in my comments. They said, man, he's nasty. But overall, like, again, had some ups and downs in the pass pro, but nothing like so egregious. Don't exactly agree with some of those penalty calls on him. But the biggest takeaway from this week is the right side of the line, especially in the run game, was just so much more effective. They look so much better. And I hope that Phillip Houston and Kahlil Benson can kind of develop a real nice rapport and confidence together moving forward. I mean, just lit this dude up. He got out there quick. I'll read some of the comments. Damn, he nasty too. That's right, Zai. Now, I don't agree with this guy. He said, man, Phillip was getting ate up 75% of the night. I would flip that. I'd say on passing downs, there were some, like I said, some bull rushes where some guys were able to move him back and some penalties. But like I said, hard to disagree. Like I really felt like he had a really good game. Kareem Harden, that's right. He also chimed in here. I want to see Kareem Harden. I want to see what Kareem Harden can do. But that's going to have to wait. Phillip Houston was great. And hey, Kareem Harden, can you play center, man? Can you play center? He blasted that dude twice. He abused that person and hit him twice. Yeah. Like, this is the kind of nasty that we never our offensive line, dude. So, yeah, this was really awesome. It was great. So I'll get to some of your comments, guys, and then I got to get out of here. Sean Ego saying Hill Green, he was great. Levante Bentley, great as well. Yeah, maybe I'm waiting for the defensive film to come in because I would love to do one on our linebackers, like a film room this week. So we're just going to have to see. PFF grades. Uh-oh. Yeah, funny how we got a lower team blocking grade when we ran for over 100 yards. That's just how it is sometimes. But Viral, good to see you. Red Dirt Fury. Yes, we never couldn't run the ball. We chose not to. You're absolutely right. And it was great to see balance. I also tweeted this earlier today. Pat Shurmur did indeed cook. Pat Shurmur did indeed cook. It's amazing how much better the play calls look when you mix up formations, when you're able to run the ball well, you put your team in position to run the ball well, right? And Shador has time. Everybody's open. You're using pre-snap more. Hey, look who it is. Carter. We'll have to get you on the show sometime. I'll DM you so I can get your number, but I'm going to have Joey on today in 3 hours. So we need to connect, but y'all go follow Carter. He's doing buff stuff. He's doing buff stuff with Joey on Let's Talk Buffs. Also, they do Let's Talk Broncos stuff. Hopefully we'll be collaborating over there as well. Unapologetically Buffs. What's up, David? Kahlil had a great game. Yes, and I'll put it this way, unapologetically Buffs. If Kahlil continues to play like this, I just might have to do it. I just might have to buy some DT2 merch. I just might have to do it, but he's got to earn my purchase, man. I got to see more performances like this. This was so great. But again, when you're putting DT2 merch out, this is the type of performance that I expect from Kahlil Benson. Playing guard, baby. This was awesome. Gearhead coming in here saying the last 2 minutes of the game led me to believe the coaches still haven't learned their lesson. We will be back in shotgun thrown on every day versus Baylor. Dude, that's so cynical. Nah, you can't deny the success. Now, is there a little part of me that is kind of nervous that that's all we're going to see against Baylor? Yes. But you can't deny the success. with the last 2 minutes in the game, I would be way more upset if it was a single digit game. They hated those dudes. That's just what it is. Agree with it, don't like it. That's more what it is rather than them thinking that that's the best way to manage the game, in my opinion. But it was very clear that it was personal. Um, that's kind of my. I just I think there were some polls on Twitter about like, did you like it? Did you not like it? With whether they're doing it at the end of the game, I feel like I more so just feel very indifferent about it because it was a multiple score possession. Now, if somebody gets hurt, I feel differently. Yeah. LG Sensei, Dave, let's be honest. Jordan Seaton is better than Caden Proctor for his freshman year. I'll need to see who his first opponents were. But you know what? Let's just take a look at this because I assume. Let's go and take a look at Caden Proctor and his first opponents because Jordan Seaton's been very good. You're right about that. Where is he? Let's just see. Bro, I want like all the stats. Here we go. Oh. Okay. So, yes. Hey. LG Sensei. That's looking pretty good right now. That's looking pretty good. You know, two sacks against USF, South Florida, 2 sacks against Texas, Middle Tennessee. Seem to be okay. Well, let's take a look at Jordan Seaton. And I guess this is kind of like around the same level of competition with what he's facing. Maybe not as like a whole team, because Texas is way better than Nebraska, but those guys on the defensive line at Nebraska are pretty serious. Let's take a look at Jordan Seaton. So, yeah. Kind of interesting idea there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing more green. We're seeing more yellow out here. And gave up 2 sacks against Nebraska. So I would say he's kind of been around there, if not a little bit better, which is great. Which is great. The stats reflect that. I think that's awesome. If he can be this good throughout Big 12 play, we're in for a really great year from Jordan Seaton, no doubt, and a good year from the offense. Only 1 penalty so far. Only 1 penalty. Where at this point, let me go back. Kane Proctor was penalized twice. So I would say probably about the same, maybe, and of course, just a little bit better. He's been a little bit better than Caden Proctor, I think. That's awesome. Awesome to see. Great point, LG Sensei. And if he continues to just go like this, absolutely. Absolutely. Motor City Smitty, we have to be able to make 40-yard field goals. I think, this is turning into a preview for Baylor, but you're absolutely right. We can't leave points on the board in conference play. It was nice at least to see Mata lift that kick, but Mata misses. Buddy, it's great to see. Buddy, is this the same buddy that I was thinking that, has really thoughtful things to say on this stream? But then on my Broncos channel, there's a buddy that's always trolling me. Is that the same buddy? Is that the same buddy? Huh? What's going on, man? Sorry I had to kick you from the chat, man. But I'm glad you're happy with the win. I'm happy with it too. All love. Jake Eyebrows. Dear Lord. Best account I've seen on here all day, hands down. Keep up the good work, Dave. Appreciate it. Keep up the eyebrows. That's awesome. I just one time want to see this lineup like Seaton, Tyler Brown, Hank, Justin Mayers, and Benson. Now, considering Benson did play guard at Indiana, or did play tackle in Indiana, yes, there's a part of me that's curious to see that as well. But I do like seeing how Phillip Houston moved. Now, is that going to assist him going up against better players this week at Baylor? We'll just have to see. But I'm optimistic. Robert Brown, Michael Welsh was wide open on that swing route. Indeed, he was. You're right about that, Robert. Houston is not as small as people claimed. He looks fine out there. And I think also standing next to Kahlil Benson, who's one of our bigger linemen, that doesn't help. Oh, man, north side. That's funny. Dave, Baylor could eat buffalo shit. I assume that's what you meant to say. But yes, and also, we're at war with Baylor in just how they treat their mascots. Guys, they keep their bear on campus there in this little cage on campus. Terrible. Doesn't, it's kind of a little tiny little zoo. Doesn't have a lot of area to roam around. You know where we put Ralphie, even though this Ralphie, deserves maybe some harsher treatment because she doesn't, she's just not about it. But I think we're going to get a new Ralphie eventually, hopefully soon. But we let our Ralphie roam out in the pasture lands, up towards Longmont or wherever. Like they live their lives. The only time they're kind of corralled up is right before and after Ralphie's run. We let our animals enjoy their lives as animals should. Baylor doesn't do that. They keep their bears in a cage. That's not right. If anybody is for animal rights in this chat, you gotta be cheering for the Buffaloes this weekend. Glad you'll be here, Carter. We'll definitely need to collab. Or maybe I'll just have Joey set up a text thread with us. What's up, Stanford? All right, guys. I'm just going to go for a few more minutes, and then I got to get off of here. But if you're wondering about Baylor, they run the ball. They run the ball well. I think they're averaging like 163 yards on the ground. Not the strongest offensive opponents. So they've had Utah, which beat them 21-13 or something like that, I believe. Let me go ahead and pull it up. But that was the Cam Rising injury game. And Cam Rising was leading them on scoring drives every single time until he got hurt. Then their defense clamped down. So that's interesting to note. Now, DeQuan Finn, their original starting quarterback, has been hurt. He didn't play last game. They got this other 6'5" backup quarterback that seemed to be doing pretty well. So Coach Prime said today in the press conference they're going to be preparing for both. But statistics-wise, this is kind of interesting. I wouldn't count them as the best defense in the Big 12, but right now in terms of total defense, like yards allowed and stuff like that, they're the top in the Big 12. Just like I wouldn't count Oklahoma State's defense as the worst, even though they've been giving up a ton of yards. Let me go ahead and bring this up. One minute. So, yeah, right now they're only allowing 230 yards of total offense, 75 passing, and that's not because, in my opinion, that's not because they're facing a ton of quarterbacks and passing offenses that are great or good, and they're just shutting them down. It's because they're playing very run-heavy offenses with very limited passers, and then they're giving up 155 yards on the ground, 9.7 points a game. But you got to look at this in context as well. While they've had good defensive performances, the the strength of schedule does leave a little bit of questions. Tarleton State, bad FCS team. They whooped them 45-3. Utah, again, they were giving up points every single drive until Rising went out. Well, yeah. So three out of their first 4 drives, they let up 17 points. Then after that, it was then they had a missed field goal touchdown. That's also insane that they were able to do that. That's cool. But they were able to shut down the offense after that injury. They're giving up points to Cam Rising for sure. And then last week, Air Force, they're running a bunch of option, all that. Yeah, their quarterback, Air Force, he threw for 2 passes, was 1 of 2 for 18 yards. That's just not what they do. And they handled that offense convincingly. Now, in their defense, Air Force has been a team in which we just couldn't seem to beat just a couple of years ago. We lost by like 30 points to them. That's how bad we were. But Baylor facing very limited offenses. And this is going to be their first true test from the defensive side, going up against our offense. So I think we definitely have the ability to establish a run game against them. Statistically, I think we can do that. And, as long as as long as Shedeur has time, we will be effective in the passing game. But yeah, they held Air Force to 3.4 yards per rush on 56 attempts. Just insane. Again, when you know it's going to be a rush every time, you're going to be able to play that a little bit more decisively. But this is something that I think in order to win against Baylor this week, we're going to need a better yards per rush there. Can we have over 4? Could we have close to 5 yards per carry? It's crazy that I'm saying that right now, right? But when we were averaging with our running backs last game 6.2 yards a carry, I want to see that. I want to see still that type of success to some degree, even if it's just 80% of that. So we'll see what they do offensively and who they start. I don't really know, but in terms of defense, their defense has been playing very, very well, and they're up against their first true test and on the road. I think being at home is going to serve us well. I would make us a couple point favorite as well, which is I think what Vegas has us right now. Yeah, buddy, I had to bust you, man. I had to bust your chops, just like you're busting my chops. Exactly, Dennis. Got to keep in mind, CSU is the easiest game of the year. Yes, but momentum is a good thing. Yes, we handle business as we should. JJ Stallworth coming in here saying Baylor has a very aggressive front 7. They can be taken advantage of. Hey, maybe through some play action. If we got a run game going, run some more of that play action. I like that. Hey, old school. Hope you're doing well, man. And don't give a damn. Hopefully, CU doesn't pass the ball 50 times again. The weather forecast is calling for rain on Saturday. Great point. And Coach Prime, man, he was calling out the weathermen. If they were just lying, crazy. Don't be calling out the weathermen. But I understand he doesn't want to deal with the elements as he should, But if that indeed does happen, maybe we see a little bit more emphasis on the run game. And Don Juan, that's exactly what I was saying, man. That's exactly what I was saying. I hope that we run the ball a little bit more. We'll just have to see. And hopefully if it does rain, it's very light rain. Mike, yeah. Hope that made you laugh. 30% of rain. Okay, chance of rain. That's good. So still very likely more likely than not, we have clear conditions. So, all that to say, guys, offensive line looked much better this week. We bounced back. We played with some swagger. We played with some confidence. We played with some nasty. Let's build off of this. Let's have an even better performance this week against Baylor. My hope is that this game against CSU isn't where our offensive line, performance-wise, grade-wise, statistically wise, speaking, whatever, it's not peaking here week 3 against CSU. I want to see this line get better over time. I've been confident that Phil Loadholt does indeed know what he's doing. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I need to calm myself down a little bit, but seeing him make these adjustments in conjunction with the adjustments of play calling, the scheme, all of that, that's what led us to success against CSU, not just simply plugging and playing a new starting 5. They did these guys much better than the game plan that we came out with against Nebraska. No doubt about it. So, guys, I'll be back here in a few hours. Gonna have Joey Richards on the show. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll talk for like 45 minutes or so. And then, I'll be back with another video either later tonight or tomorrow as well. But I do have film reviews coming for Shedeur, the run game, as well as Travis Hunter. I really do think that he's making a strong Heisman case right now. And if we see this continue on, how can you not give him the Heisman? How can you not give him the Heisman? So valuable. Truly, truly one of one. So, guys, thank you so much. Be sure to smash that like and subscribe on the way out. I'll see you guys here in just under 3 hours. Go Buffs. Or 2 hours. 2 hours. My bad. We're meeting at 6 Mountain Time. No, 5 Mountain Time. I'm getting my time zone screwed up. 6 Central, 5 Mountain Time. Go Buffs.